Couple comments for you.
Yeah, guys, great Tuesday. Again, late in the year, you're always going to be making adjustments and doing things a little bit differently practice-wise. But for the most part, I mean, you're just seeing a great energy consistently even into November with these guys. They're going hard in drills, they're preparing, and they're always practicing the same way regardless of the week before. So really respect that and appreciate it about this group.
And you've said that all along, even after the losses, but there's got to be a little bit more bounce and step after a win.
No. I mean, there's naturally you're going to have a little bit of that, right after the game and everything else. But I promise you, they were taking the same approach last Tuesday. So that's a credit to them. They're just buying into the process and what it is during the week and how important that is. So respect these guys for how they handle that. They're mature.
Yesterday, the big news was that Chase was cleared to practice and play and everything. How's he looked just coming back from his injury?
He looks solid, really solid. So I'm excited to, just keep watching him in practice and, just keep evaluating him and seeing where he's at.
How much do you worry about the so-called rust? It's been a while since he's been in a game.
I don't worry about it. I mean, it's a while, going into UC Davis, it's a while, because you've got 9 months. So you're always going to have times, coming off a bye week, that's 2 weeks. So yeah, I don't worry about it too much. He's been doing stuff for a while now. So, I mean, even back into last week's bye week. So he's had time to practice and do that. Same stuff. Maud had to come off some time off too. So it's, they've both dealt with that.
UC Davis isn't quite SC though.
No.
And so you've got two guys now who you feel like are maybe able to go. What are you looking for in practice to decide who gets the start?
Who gives us the best chance to win? Simple. I mean, it's always the case at any position. Who gives us the best chance to win, and we will make that assessment.
Can you talk a little bit about the impact that the line had on opening things up for you with some of the guys coming back healthier?
Yeah, definitely. You could just see it. I mean, not just Mike. I mean, Mike obviously a big addition and getting back in there and feeling healthy again. But even a guy like Beau, he's been fighting through. He's played a lot of weeks where he's fighting through stuff, and you see him start to have a little bit more bounce in his step and feeling a little stronger. So you could definitely see it with a number of guys up front. And you see younger guys coming off a bye, and just getting themselves back. Whether it's McCade, Cindric, whatever, getting their bodies feeling a little bit fresher. So it was it was good to see that, and proud of that group. They like I said, they practiced their tails off, and it carried over into the game.
There's a lot of factors in going from the month of October you had to 5 touchdowns against Washington State, but it's not as simple as just Monster played better, the line was better, you had Kakoa back. When you look at that, how do you evaluate how the whole thing came together?
It's like we talked about, even when things aren't going as good. I mean, there's never one person. It's never one thing. It's always a collection of things. And sometimes, again, any given Saturday, things can go a certain way, and other Saturdays they go a certain. So it's like you see that all around the country in college football. And you can find plenty of teams and go through their, very few doing the same thing every week in terms of how many points they score, this or that. So it's one of those things where it's it's a combination of a lot of things, that were better in that game. And but ultimately though, it was sure. I mean, whenever you're a little bit healthier and you get some guys back that are preseason starters and guys, that it definitely helps. And then on top of that, the way they practiced, I think carried over into Saturday. So proud of them for that.
Can you evaluate how Devon played?
Yeah, played very well, very well. I mean, you just not just because of the numbers, but when you look at the numbers, he was efficient. But he was efficient while still making big plays. So it wasn't just check downs. It wasn't just that. He took care of the football along with getting it in the end zone. 100% touchdowns in the red zone, and he's not. That's all 11 of them on the field, but he's still the quarterback in that situation. So he did a lot of things well. Just operating in those key moments. Third down percentages took a big spike, so it was solid.
And you may have seen that daily in practice leading up to the game, but we don't see that the last time we saw him. He didn't look this efficient, this smooth, this comfortable, and as confident. Is it something you saw coming?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely believed it was coming. I definitely, just like early in the year, Garber's maybe in the first couple, and compared to where he looked in his last 6 quarters of play, with Ole Miss in the first half ASU. So it's just, sometimes it just takes reps, game reps. You can't replace those. Game reps are just different. So you start getting game reps, and you start getting game reps in a system that's still relatively new to him. He's here in the spring, but the game reps in the system aren't very many. So your expectation is that someone's going to continuously, climb the ladder and continuously spike in their performance.
Is it a nice problem to have both Chase and Devon, and feeling like either of those guys can make it work for you?
Definitely. I mean, anytime you have great depth and great competition, you have a chance to be better as a team. So that's how we look at it for sure.
Can you walk us through the tunnel screen call to Mackay that ended up going?
Yeah, I mean, we've called that a number of times. We called that last year against WSU, and Vic took it about 20. Different formation. Sometimes, like I said, sometimes they hit, sometimes they don't. But the biggest thing was they had blitzed us a couple times on 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10 earlier. Definitely one I remember where Maud took a sack on 3rd and 11. So it was just kind of something we talked about, and just had in my head the next time that we get into 3rd and 9 or 3rd and 10, I feel like they're going to bring pressure, but at the end of the day, the player's still got to go make the play. Because if Mackay doesn't step out of the first tackle, it's a 4-yard gain and you're punting. So it still takes guys, making that play and making some guys miss. So he did a tremendous job, and guys were hustling all over the field blocking, to turn what, who knows, could have been a solid play into a chunk play. And that's how chunk plays come. They come from guys who are making guys miss or guys hustling downfield blocking, and that was definitely an important one.
How big can one play like that be for a kid, for
Huge.
Mackay?
It could be huge. It can, especially for a young guy, and a young guy who maybe hasn't, he's played a decent amount of snaps, but maybe hasn't had a ton of touches, so to feel that. And again, but he's still a freshman. I mean, I've seen guys go on to have amazing careers that still within their first 6 or 7 games, they were still kind of, just learning and he's, like I said, he's done a great job, but his practice habits carried into that game.
For him, it sort of validates what he's been doing in practice?
Absolutely, and he did. He had a great week of practice. I'm not just saying that because the way the game turned out, and that was the first thing I said after the game. The game's a game, and that's awesome, but what you did in practice is why the game went that way, and I believe that. And he's someone who handled it very maturely in terms of his week of practice, prepared himself so when he was in that moment he was ready, and sure enough, that's what happened.
The passing game obviously had a breakthrough, but the inability to hold on to balls has kind of plagued the offense a lot this year, including a couple of balls that were caught and then fumbled. How do you account for catchable balls just not being held on to?
Yeah, it's just one of those things. You have to keep drilling. You have to keep doing handwork. You have to keep repping, whether it's on the jugs, whether it's it becomes you just got to have that laser focus. And people say people have great hands, and there is a hand-eye coordination aspect to it. But most of the time, when they're saying what they're saying is someone has incredible focus. That's what it comes down to. Incredible focus to block everything out, to block out things that are flying around you, to block out the moment, the situation, and to just focus in. And that's something that we're still growing, and we have to just grow in terms of creating those moments where we just can know, man, our focus has to just be laser focus and nothing matters but, catching this ball, locking into that mindset. And that's what it comes down to. There's a level, I get it, of hand-eye coordination, but it is funny when they say great hands. To me, it's really great concentration and focus, and that's what we just have to keep improving in those areas.
Is there potentially an element of it getting into guys' heads if they've had a drop or two?
It can, yeah, just like anything. I mean, it's like a guy at free throw line who struggles, or a guy who misses 5-foot putts, and then it's all the same stuff.
How do you overcome that?
You just have to be strong. You just have to, again, continue to talk about and continue to encourage them that thinking about anything negative is the worst thing you can do in anything you do. If you're thinking about what could go wrong, I mean, again, your body energy, whatever energy you put out there, you're gonna get it coming back to you, whatever that is. So I just keep, those are things I've talked about for a lot of years, with guys, and if you go to the quarterback position, same thing. If you go to the corner position and they get beat, you got to have that short memory, and you just got to lock back in, and you can't coach or think in the rearview mirror. That's something I've always talked about, and we talk about is there's no rearview mirror. You learn from it, but if you can't be looking backwards when you got to be going forward, no matter whether it was good or bad behind you.
What stands out about that USC defense with number 99 there?
Yeah, 99's impressive, 78's impressive, 89's impressive. I know I'm naming a lot of guys up front, and that's not taking anything away. They're big and they're athletic and they're physical and they do a lot of things well. And they're just, they're athletic at every level. We've played against 10 for a lot of years, very good athletic linebacker. 21's incredible on the back end, very good safety. And they got some young guys playing some other spots, but they're plenty talented. And so it's what stands out is that's an impressive group. That's an impressive group as a whole. And they're led by their front, though. That front four does some great things. So we just have to be. We're excited for the challenge, but we faced great fronts this year, and we're excited about it. So the guys up front, they're pumped.
Did the offensive line hold up health-wise through the game? Do you expect them all back this week?
I do. Yep, I do. All right.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thank you.